What if I told you that one of the most powerful ideas in modern manufacturing didn't come from some complex algorithm, but from, of all things, a US supermarket? Well, that idea is called Kanban. It's a system that Toyota developed way back in the 1950s, and it completely flipped how we think about production. So let's dive into this really elegant solution for making work visible.
All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the big problem Kanban was built to solve. Then, we'll get into what Kanban actually is. After that, we'll see how it all works with simple visual signals, explore the huge benefits of this pull approach, and wrap up with the 2 core rules that make the whole thing tick.
Okay, so to really get why Kanban was such a game changer, you've got to understand the old way of doing things and the massive, kind of invisible problems it was creating.
I mean, just imagine this. You put in a full day's work, you're productive, but then you find out that the stuff you just made, well, nobody actually needs it yet. In fact, now it's just taking up space, it's costing money, and it's probably hiding other issues on the factory floor. That was the reality for so many manufacturers.
And this gets to the heart of what's called a push system. You basically guess or forecast what you think customers are going to want. Then you make a whole bunch of it and just push it down the production line, hoping someone eventually needs it. The result? You get these huge piles of inventory. And this isn't just a clutter problem. It's a massive form of waste. Wasted materials, wasted time, and it hides defects that you might not find for weeks or months. So how do you solve this huge problem of making too much too soon? Well, the answer turned out to be brilliantly simple, and it came from a place you'd never expect. Kanban is basically the exact opposite of that push system. The word itself literally means signboard, and it's what we call a pull system. Here's the key. Nothing gets made until the next person down the line signals that they need it. Production isn't based on a guess, it's based on actual use. You only replace what has just been consumed. That's it. And the origin story here is just fantastic. In the 1950s, a Toyota executive named Taiichi Ono was visiting the US and walked into a supermarket. He noticed that the shelves weren't just randomly stuffed with products. No, they were only restocked after a customer took an item off the shelf, they pulled it. He had this light bulb moment that this just-in-time idea could revolutionize the factory floor. So that's the big idea. But how do you actually take that supermarket logic and apply it to a really complex factory? Well, it all comes down to making demand visible with clear, simple signals. Let's make this distinction crystal clear. In a push system, one station makes a bunch of parts and just shoves them downstream. But in a pull system, that first station just waits. It does nothing until the next station in line basically raises its hand and says, "Hey, I just used that last part you gave me. I need another one now." That request is the pull. And how do they send that signal? Well, the Kanban is the signal. It can be a physical card, an empty bin, an electronic message, anything really. These visual cues become the language of the entire system, communicating exactly what's needed, where it's needed, and when it's needed. And these signals come in a few key flavors. A production Kanban is a direct order. Make more of this specific part right now. A withdrawal Kanban is more like a shopping list. It tells a material handler, hey, go get these parts from our little internal supermarket and bring them to the line. And then there's the signal Kanban, which is kind of like the low fuel light in your car. It tells you that your inventory has dropped to a critical point and it's time to order a whole new batch. Okay, so you switch from pushing to pulling. You start using these visual signals. What's the payoff? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a whole cascade of incredible benefits that totally transform the workplace. The results are just dramatic. I mean, because you're only making what's immediately needed, inventory levels can drop by an insane 25 to 75%. Overproduction, one of the biggest forms of waste, is basically designed out of the system. And because all the signals are visual, everyone on the floor can see the status of the work instantly. It gives the operators on the line control over their own schedule. It's a system that builds clarity and efficiency from the ground up. Now, for all of its amazing benefits, you might think Kanban is really complicated to run, but the entire system really just rests on 2 incredibly simple, totally non-negotiable rules. You follow these, the system just works. And here they are. It's this simple. Number 1, you only make something to replace what has been taken or used. And number 2, you only start making it when you get an explicit signal to do so. That's it. No signal, no work. It's a beautifully simple discipline that prevents the whole process from sliding back into those wasteful habits of just pushing stuff down the line. So, when you boil it all down, the genius of Kanban is making demand visible so you can respond to it intelligently and eliminate waste. And this idea goes way beyond the factory floor. Think about your own projects, or your email inbox, or even just chores around the house. What invisible work is causing clutter and stress in your life? And what kind of simple visual signal could you create to manage it better?